sure he's gonna come around by the time you get released. It's Friday night, the inmates go quiet. Listen for a voice they know. It's prison radio. It's prison radio. From Paris to Polanski, bonjour, amour. In my dreams, I can see your freedom. I will hold you once more. To the men with no visitors, no money on the books. Remember, David's always gonna be here. You're never so alone. This thing's my love. It's Friday night, the inmates go quiet. Listen for a voice they know. It's prison radio. Prison radio.
Welcome to the Prison Show. You're going to hear this on Friday night, which I believe is the October 30th, but we're recording it on Monday night, October 26th, and we've got a good show lined up for you. David has always put together some of our folks that we like to have in. Victoria, who we hadn't seen in a while, and then a little later, David Atwood, and we'll have Daniel pitching and reporting in Espanol, and then we'll go to the calls, which is, really the meat of the show. Love these 40 and a half years now. 40 years and 6 months, basically. You know how we stayed on the air, folks? We stayed on the air by your good graces and your donations and us getting out and hustling up side money and things like that. It's donations that keep us alive. We're in Fund Drive again. We're in Fund Drive for the rest of this month, just like we were in Fund Drive all of August. And if we don't get some help and change our ways and raise more money, we'll be back in December for Christmas. Things are not going well with the Fund Drive. We are raising a little more money in a day than what we need to operate that day. Not much, but a little, So we really need to raise that money a whole lot better than what we're doing right now. And I know, just like you do, we're too often in Fund Drive. They last too long. And they're not productive as they used to be 10, 15, 20 years ago. The only way we can change that is if you give 713-526-5738 or go to kpft.org and click the Donate Now button. No matter which way you do it, be sure and designate the Prison Show so that we get credit for it. And they know that we're in here doing our part, pitching and trying to get you to do your part and donate. Folks, if you're a caller to this show and you like being able to shout out to your loved ones inside TDCJ, TDCJ doesn't let you call into the unit. So this is the only way your call really goes directly into the unit. And that's quite a few units nowadays because we're back up to 100,000 watts, but not all the units. And we're sorry to say that, but David and I have been talking about how we can maybe get to more units and spread the word, all that. But none of it is going to happen without your good graces and your generosity and your donations. I donate, David donates, Victoria's donated, Dave Atwood, Mike, Tom, both the Death Row Angels. We all give. As a matter of fact, if you want to go back and count up the last 10 drives, we give as much as y'all do. Just between us. And there's thousands of y'all out there. So we need you to make that pledge. Again, 713-526-5738. Tell them it's for the Prison Show. Or kpft.org online, safe, secure, same as always. Hit the red donate button and be sure and in the drop-down menu select the Prison Show. Victoria, Rusk, how are you doing?
Hey, Hank, so nice to see you. Thanks for having me back on.
Nice to see you too. Hadn't seen you in quite a while now. Good to have you on again.
Well, I'm busy. After my last trial, my trial last year we successfully got a life sentence for my client facing the death penalty out in Fort Bend County. Shout out to LaMelvin Johnson. I don't know if he's in ear reach, but I just want to say my former client and, you know, now friend, longtime friend. But after my trial, I worked really hard, and I worked on completing this book that I want to share.
Go right ahead.
Okay, thank you. And also about donations, I just thought of this. Hello, duh. I can donate some of the proceeds to the prison show. So if a person is listening and they want to purchase the book and they go through my Facebook, I bet is probably the best one to message me. Heart of Justice is the name of my company. My mitigation company. But if they go through there and or, you know, just message me and let me know that you heard this on the prison show, then my book is $20 and I can give, you know, $10 to the prison show. So I'm happy to share, as it's a flat fee of $20, which includes shipping. So anybody interested.
Wow.
So let me just tell you a little bit about this book. I don't know if you can see it.
Well, we can. The radio folks won't, but they can find you on Facebook.
Okay. I wanted you to see it, Hank. It's called The Handbook for Mitigation, a practical guide for the community around a criminal case. So I've been probably working on the book for a little bit more than a year while I'm working on cases and stuff. And the book is basically for understanding mitigation, investigation, and how it helps to mitigate a sentence less than the maximum punishment. And as people understand, mitigation is really used mainly in capital murder cases. But I am on a campaign now for mitigation for all criminal cases. So I wrote this book to be able to reach an audience like a person who's accused of a crime, or a person who loves somebody accused of a crime, or a student. I wrote it in 7th grade English, so anyone can understand, you know, what mitigation is. I talk about the defense team. I talk about the mitigation process, mitigation evidence, what that is. And I even go into how working in our criminal justice system as is, and what is the winning formula to utilizing our humanity, or the person accused, their humanity and their life story, to get an outcome that is less harsh, more understanding, more compassion, and to get real, you know, results. Because we all know that mass incarceration, a big part of it is people being harshly punished, like over punishment.
Mm-hmm. You know, I think a lot of people really don't understand what goes on in our criminal justice system and what it is they're sentencing people to. You know, if the death penalty, they understand that. That's an easy one. But they don't understand that people are getting 30 years for a couple of joints here and there, that people are going for a robbery with no gun for 25, 30 years. You know, people don't realize the severity of what they're doing.
25 years when they're considered, when you're considered habitual, you can be charged, or you can be punished more harshly. Also, let's just say, Texas law, the range of punishment for being charged or convicted of a felony is 5 to 99 years. So you can get a life sentence for a felony. And how do we understand the real why a person got caught up in this situation, maybe even several times? And mitigation is really the answer, in understanding the person. We cannot mitigate the crime. Let me be clear about that. There's no excuse, you know, that is good enough for some of the crimes that are committed. But if we understand the person and we can separate the sin from the sinner, and in this book, what I'm doing is I'm giving that information to non-professionals to help the professionals help you and help your family.
Well, we thank you for being able to do that and taking it to heart, because you've been doing this a number of years now, unceasingly. And I find that I still see a ton of very serious cases where the defense attorneys don't even bother with mitigation specialists.
It's disheartening.
Yeah.
Can I interject just a minute?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Act like I don't know anything. What is a mitigation specialist?
Oh, great question. A mitigation specialist is the person who is investigating the why behind the crime. But the real why is, who is this person? What is their criminal history? What is their medical history? What is their education history? Who's their mom? Who's their dad? How many children do they have? We interview those people to understand them a bit better, along with spending time with the actual person accused to learn about them, right? And so mitigation a lot of times is best used, you know, before the plea, before the actual trial, because that's where we are able to mitigate in front of a judge or in front of a jury, or even with the DA, who this person is and how they got to be there. And learning about, you know, what they are accused of is just one part. The prosecutor has that down, right? What the defense team needs assistance with is people who will actually say, like, this is what's happened to this person too. Because for a person to commit a crime, something that might, you know, that can be dehumanizing, they also too were dehumanized in some time in their life. And so I'm trying to figure out, what is this person about? Who is this? Where is this person from? You know, several questions about the actual character of the person, the health of the person. You know, a lot of our brothers and sisters in TDCJ have a head injury or maybe a mental illness or an intellectual disability. There's things that they have been living with, surviving throughout their life, and their story is not being shared or told in a way that could actually benefit them or their family, because it's just not known. And the system is set up not for us, you know, the defense to win, because we have our attorneys who have so many cases. So why don't we help our attorneys do the right thing by empowering the person who is accused with information and their family with information? Because as being a mitigation specialist for a while now, there's a handful of people who don't want to help their loved one or don't want to be there for them, but there's more people who do want to.
That makes sense. So basically you tell the who and the why, you get to the who and the why, rather than just letting the state paint them as a dirty, rotten, no good SOB.
That's exactly right. And I wish there was more I could do, or mitigation could do post-conviction, as our audience is really people who are, you know, living in the walls right now. What I do want to say that I thought about, you guys, is that I wrote in the back of the book is an appendix, and it has, you know, mitigation case law in the back. It has some information on, you know, appellate support if you were not given mitigation when you were in trial. And it's really, really important that it was about the trial. And I wrote about that too. Now, it's a little tricky getting the books in the prison, and one organization, Pure Justice Organization, is helping me to do that. So if somebody wants to get this book for their loved one who's in prison, I am figuring that out, how I can do that right now. But I want to, you know, give this book to jail ministries, people who, you know, can educate themselves in their ministry, also teach people about, you know, mitigation in some form or fashion. You know, if people want to talk about their trial, you know, I think this is such a wonderful subject matter to be educated on, to say the least.
Yeah.
Certainly defense attorneys should be all over this.
She's starting to lag. I think her internet's starting to give her a hard time.
Kind of dragging a little.
Yeah, I wish Paul Morgan was on tonight. Him and Victoria really need to hook up here.
Yeah,
No.
Victoria, are you able to hear us? Or nope, there she went. Okay, so
Ready to go?
yeah, let me give out the address again. It's heartofjustice.org, and they've got a little website there. And up at the top of the page, you can click the button. Here she is again. Okay, here we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right, I can hear you too. Great. All right. So anyway, handbook for mitigation, and can I go ahead and give out your PO box? Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
all right.
she shows up again.
PO box 10891, Houston, Texas 77091, and I'll give it out again. It's heartofjustice.org online. And to write them.
You want me to say?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. She gave us a thumbs up. You can actually say it.
Oh, my info, heartofjustice.org,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
the Facebook page.
Well, the
You know, Heart
inmates
of Justice, my
can't go to
Facebook page.
the inmates can't go to either one of them, but you got a PO box, right?
Yes, I do. I have a PO box. Yeah, my PO box. Thank you so much for reminding me. I haven't been on the show in a while. Thank you, and I love you. My PO box 10891, Houston, Texas 77206.
The one in notes here has a different zip code, 77091.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
Oh, okay. All right. So again, it's
It's
PO box.
77206 is the zip. PO box 10891.
All right.
Great. All right. I don't know where we are on
Glad
time.
to have you back on. We've missed you a lot. We talk about you every now and then, but you need to meet a friend of mine,
Oh,
Paul
thank
Morgan.
you.
He's been on the show. A friend of ours. He's been on the show, and we've been riding motorcycles together lately. He bought a Triumph. We've been riding a lot of bikes together. But
Excellent. You tell him to get my book. You
That's
tell
what he
him
needs.
about me.
And I'm thinking that on a nonprofit radio, we're not supposed to actually give prices out. But here's the deal. If you get on the heartofjustice.org and you buy a book off of her, or you go to her Facebook page, she'll give half of the proceeds to the prison show.
There we go.
There you go. Thank you so much, Victoria. We
I love
appreciate
the
you.
prison show. I love the prison show, and I'm here to make Ray Hill proud.
Yeah,
Amen.
we
Amen.
miss Ray.
Yeah. We all wish we make him proud. We all hope that. And he was always real positive to us about all this. So we really feel good about it. Thank you. All right, folks, that brings me back around to pitching again. Now, I don't like to do it any more than you like to hear it, but that's how we stay on the air. And if you're a person that calls this show, that you value being able to shout out to your loved one, you have an obligation here. We have the obligation to bring it to you every week and do our part, and the obligation to support it, which we all do. Rev is also a sustainer. I forgot to mention him earlier. But the truth of the matter is, about half the money, if not more, every fund drive comes from us. That means the thousands of you out there that are listening are really not living up to your end of community radio. We're the radio, you're the community. community radio. Okay, so that's when we're doing things for you. Your part is to call in and make a pledge and keep it on the air and keep it vibrant and healthy. And that's been a failing effort for 7 or 8 years now. We're still on the air, but we've had to let go of staff. We've had to stop fixing the building. We can't even get in the building right now because there's such a mold issue in there. And the truth of the matter is, without you calling 713-526-5738 and making a pledge in some amount, all of you, making a pledge in some amount, this may not be on the air forever. We're working on alternatives and we're working on solutions for that and everything. But right now, this is the only game in town. So we need you to get on there, call 713-526-5738, make that pledge, or you can go, if you just like doing things online, go to kpft.org. Over on the right-hand side, there's a red donate button. It works safely and securely, and you can make a pledge there. Whatever you do, be sure and credit the prison show with it. If we helped raise $20,000, but only $3,000 or $4,000 worth said anything about the prison show, that money would just go into the general fund and nobody would ever know we did all that work. And we do a lot of work to get this on the air for you. David will, when we're done tonight, he will go into editor mode from producer to editor and spend, late night hours tonight and more hours tomorrow getting this ready to go on Friday night.
Depends on how it goes. Some nights I'm up till 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yep. So
Sometimes
at any rate,
I take segments and being pledge drive, I keep thinking about Ray Hill, and Ray always points out that the prison show definitely has some of the, no offense to everybody out there, but some of the lowest income people listening to us. But the deal is if you can afford $1 a week, that's $52, and it's only $25 to be a voting member. So you can actually become a sustainer at $1 a week. Now, if you're like me and I like to stop in and get me a Whopper every now and then, a Whopper with cheese, no pickle, no ketchup combination is going to cost me about $8. So if I can do that once or twice a week, then there's no reason why I don't give $20 a week. And that's $240 a year. I mean, or not a week. I mean, that's a lot more than that. I mean, a month, if I give $20 a month, it'd be $240. But I buy a Whopper at least once or twice a week. It's just my go-to meal because I like that flame broil. So right now I'm doing $20 a month, but my wife and I, we donate $350. So that's just our cash money that we spend because we tighten our belts and we're able to do that. We're blessed right now during COVID, and I know everybody can't do $350, just a one-time donation. But I'd be willing to bet you could do that $1 a week, or you could do $5 a week, or you could do $10 a month. Whatever you can afford, that's all we're asking. And I know Hank and I have been talking about it. We're tired of Pledge Drive. Man. And it's like just as soon as we came off Pledge Drive, here we are on Pledge Drive again.
We got 1 month off. That was it.
This is a listener-sponsored radio, and without the listener sponsoring us, we're not going to have radio.
It's that simple, folks. It really is. And it's not just us. It's all the shows on KPFT. We all do this. We all have to do this to stay on the air. And aside from that, we all dislike it. Every single programmer I speak to, we are just tired to death of 50 years of Fund Drive and having to make them longer and having to make them more frequent and everything. The missing ingredient here, folks, is you. And I know some of you do donate, but a whole lot of you do not donate. And that's...
we had a good week last week.
Yes, we did. But I donated $400. You donated $350. We had a couple other large donors, and the bulk of that money
from the
came
show. We had people donate here from the show. Miss Lovinah donated.
Yeah. And we count that. We appreciate that, and we know the difference between the ones that donate and the ones that don't. We don't call you out by name on the air and stuff, but we know from years of doing this, and doing it several times a year. So
Mike got his keychain down
there. Yeah. And we also have thank you gifts. Thank you, Mike. We have thank you gifts. David has prison show t-shirts. You want a cool shirt? wear your prison show T-shirt to your next family gathering and see what happens. You'll get a lot of talk about it.
Hey, boy, Dave mentioned something here a while back about that book called Death Row Yoga. And I've got one of those books. And I've got Jorge Renaud's book about how to do a parole package.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I've got several different things. And if I'll tell you what, if I don't have what you're needing, I'll get it. I mean, you just let me know what you expect for a gift. We also talked about, I've got the audio of Ray Hill hollering down the pipe, chasing, rattling the bars, and we can make you an alarm or a ringtone. We can get creative with it. All you got to do is let us know what you want.
Hey, we've done this before. Now, David and I are happy to go to dinner with you for $150.
I'll do that.
You know, for $150 pledge, we'll come eat your food. And trust me, between us, we can do it. All right, so I guess we need to move on to our next guest now, which is Dave Atwood, longtime death penalty advocate and advocate for inmates. Oh, thank you. And Dave, what's a good word this week? I know there's some good words out there. You're muted.
All right, you can see my face. I'm not in the dark, right? That's
No.
That's an improvement. So, and wasn't it nice having Victoria on and
Yes.
all these ugly guys with beards? And it must. She was an improvement over all of us.
I think he's talking about you and Mike. I don't know.
Well, I'm not a death penalty advocate. I'm a death penalty. I'm against.
Yeah. I guess I said that wrong. Yeah.
That's all right. I think everybody
for a long
knows.
time.
Yeah, for about 30 years now. About 30 years. Well, greetings to everybody who's listening in this evening, especially the guys on death row. My heart goes out to you for what you're having to endure, as do the hearts of many people who are against the death penalty. We know you're in solitary confinement, and it's horrible, but you are in our hearts and our prayers. As of right now, in this year, 2020, in the United States, we've had 14 executions. 3 of those have been in Texas. 7 have been federal executions because they started that again this year under Trump and Barr. For the rest of this year, 2020, we don't have any in November and December, basically. There are 3 more federal executions scheduled, 2 in Tennessee, no more in Texas. But starting up in 2021, we have 5 executions scheduled in Texas, and I'll let the death row angels speak about that more. Executions are all about vengeance and politics. So retributive justice, and there's a lot of good programs out there right now under the headings of restorative justice. And I would recommend anybody that's listening in to Google or look up some way about restorative justice. So it's a much more enlightened approach to criminal justice. What Victoria's working on with mitigation is part of restorative justice. It's the future. It really is the future. And we're moving in that direction. We're learning more about it, and we'll be there eventually. But right now, in Texas and really throughout the United States, we're in a system of retributive justice, which is basically punishment rather than restoring people who have committed crime, restoring victims, and really restoring society, healing to all of us. I want to talk briefly about a subject I haven't talked about previously on this show, which is amazing because I've talked about just about everything. And that is that the death penalty is used by prosecutors to have people confess to crimes. And I want to bring up, we're talking about Victoria's book. I'm going to mention again my book from 2008 called Detour to Death Row. There's a section in there about a woman from Azle, Texas. I've never been there. Her name is Jeanette Pop. I'm just going to read a paragraph here. Jeanette's daughter, Nancy DePriest, was murdered in Austin, Texas during the robbery of a Pizza Hut in 1998. Two men, Christopher Ochoa and Richard Danziger, were coerced by the police into confessing to the crime. They were coerced. They were convicted and given life sentences. If they didn't confess, they were told they were going to be given the death penalty. They spent 12 years in prison before being proven innocent and released after another man confessed to the crime. Christopher Ochoa later went on to law school and became an attorney. Richard Danziger, unfortunately, was very brutally beaten up while in prison and was disabled and really didn't have much of a life after that. Jeanette was so upset at what had happened in her daughter's case that she became an advocate for abolition of the death penalty. She also ran for Texas state legislature in 2004 on an abolitionist platform. It's the first time I knew about anybody doing that. Jeanette often spoke out publicly against the death penalty, saying, "It is my wish that the death penalty would be abolished in the state of Texas so that it can no longer be used as a threat to coerce confessions from the innocent." And I was with Jeanette many times at protests over the years. And of course, she went through that horrible experience of having her daughter murdered in Austin. That led her to, on that road to speaking out against the death penalty. Now, one reason I bring this up is that I get a lot of information, good information, from the Death Penalty Information Center out of Washington. In their recent report, they have a new report called Use or Threat of Death Penalty Implicated in 19 Exoneration Cases in 2019. I'm going to read just a little bit of this. Prosecutors or police used or threatened to use the death penalty as a coercive tool that led to or extended the wrongful convictions of at least 19 people who were exonerated in 2019. A Death Penalty Information Center analysis of the data from the National Registry of Exonerations revealed that nearly 95% of those cases are also involved in some other form of official misconduct. The Death Penalty Information Center found out. A little later, they report, the numbers show that the death penalty has a dangerous effects on the criminal justice system that go far beyond the already significant risk of executing innocent people. And we know we've had over 170 people who were sent to death row in the United States who were later released because they were exonerated, shown to be innocent. Innocent people confess to crimes they didn't commit to avoid the possibility of being executed. Suspects, both innocent and guilty, who are threatened with the death penalty if they do not cooperate with law enforcement, provide false testimony that sends innocent people to jail, often for decades. The data suggests that the misuse of the death penalty as a coercive interrogation and plea bargaining tool poses a far greater threat to the fair administration of the criminal justice laws than we had previously imagined. And I was very happy to see this report that just came out. I knew about this possibility from Jeanette Pop many years ago, but this is the first time that there probably have been other reports. First time I've seen this report, where they have done a systematic analysis. And it's just another reason, in my opinion, that we should abolish the death penalty. That's all there is to it. So, go ahead.
You might want to add to that the idea that it leads to prosecutorial misconduct.
Well, this is part of the misconduct from police and prosecutors that goes back many, many years. The one that got me first involved, one of the first cases that I knew about when I got involved in the death penalty, I'm talking about 30 years ago, was a guy named Ricardo Adapiguera, who anybody who's listening in tonight who's been working against the death penalty for many years are familiar with Ricardo's case. And that was police and prosecutorial misconduct. He was in prison. I was not directly involved in his case, although I did go one time to the Harris County Jail and had a chance to wave to him that he was behind bars, but his case was being reviewed. And eventually he was released. Went down to Mexico, and then unfortunately in Mexico he was in a car accident and was actually killed in a car accident. So a very tragic story. But people who have been involved in the death penalty for many years know about this. And I mean, we've had people on the show. I mean, we know very many people who know. I mean, of course, I brought up this many times, and people know that. Look at if you're poor, and you cannot afford the dream team, and you get a court-appointed attorneys, and we still have this system in Harris County. We do have a public defender system here, but the public defender system does not. The people in that office, very good people, but they do not have the resources to take on death penalty cases. They don't. So if you have a death penalty cases, you're going to get a court-appointed attorney. And we know that these court-appointed attorneys, they just do not, with maybe a few exceptions, do as good a job as if you have the resources. And if you're a minority and you're poor, you could very well be innocent and go to death row. And the reason we know this is that these over 170 people who have been exonerated, a great number of them, I think the great majority, are minorities, are people who are poor. They did not have the resources. So that's the situation. We need, I'll just make a pitch. We need resources in the state of Texas and in Harris County so that if somebody's accused of capital murder, that they have the possibility of getting a public defender. They are not at the just thrown out to whatever attorneys, and a lot of these attorneys take 200 to 300 cases in order to make a lot of money. They cannot put the time and energy and resources into an individual death penalty case because it takes a lot. So we need in Harris County the public defender office to be able to take death penalty cases. And we don't have that now. So if it's a serious situation and they need the resources from the state and the county to be able to do death penalty cases. And until we have that, if you're poor and if you're a minority and you're accused of murder, good luck in Harris County. Good luck. That's it.
Pitch for us.
Well, let me tell you, I'm going to by the way, this book, my old book, it's 2008. I read it again recently. I had some time. Everything in there is still current. Makes me sick, quite frank. I mean, there's a few things that have been changed. But if anybody wants to get this book, they can get it on Amazon. I guess it's Amazon they can get it on. Not directly for me. I don't make any money from this book. I never have. Any money that comes in goes to a peace organization up in San Antonio. But if anybody wants to get a copy of this book, you know, we can make it happen, and we can have also part of that money go to the prison show. I'm open to that. I'm certain it's got a lot of good information in it. It's 12 years old now, but we talk about a lot of different subjects in there concerning the criminal justice system, concerning victims, concerning people who have been sent to death row, concerning the culture of Texas and why we have so many executions in this state. So if somebody wants to do something on that with that book, we can make some money come to the prison show too. And I really thank Victoria for making that fantastic offer that she made tonight.
Well, thank you, Ben. So we appreciate you coming on. You know, it's the same thing as always. We wish you were worked out of a job.
I wish so too. And by the way, we got about 8 or 10 inches of snow up here in Colorado the other day. I am literally snowed in right now.
Yet another reason to stay in Texas, south of the snow.
Yep.
Our best to the missus. I hope you guys are having fun and doing things that make you happy.
Well, if she's doing that, she's doing it in Texas because she's there and I'm here.
Aha.
So I don't know. I better get back there and check on things.
might be a good idea.
Okay.
All right. You'll have to let go of that Rocky Mountain High. Come on home.
I know. And people, anybody else listening, please, please, please contribute to this, to KPFT and the prison show. And I do give a little bit of money every month. I'm going to send a little bit more in tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much. Good night. All right, folks. You know the drill. 713-526-5738. And the reason is you want this show to be on the air. You want to be able to hear this news and information and these cases and success stories and people that are affected by incarceration in TDCJ, the death penalty, crooked courts, crooked cops, whatever. Even the straight ones are affecting everybody. And, you know, and people, like Victoria said earlier, a lot of these sentences are just outlandish. You know, they're not really reflective of the justice needed in the situation. They're more about punishment and revenge and not about justice. And that's a sad state of affairs. The prison show for 40 and a half years now, 40 and a half years, has been on the air trying to bring these sort of issues to the fore, trying to keep families connected with the shout outs. The second half of the show is always the shout outs, and provided it plays in the right order on the station. Now, I can't say anything else about that, but we do the shout outs for you, the inmates, and for you, the family members at home. The inmates donate. We get a lot of inmate donations for a talk show, essentially. I don't know if they give to the music shows or not, but they do right by us to the best of their ability, and we appreciate that. You folks at home are the ones that we have to rely on the most. 713-526-5738. And if you don't think I'm talking to you and you're on here to do a shout out, I am talking to you specifically. And for the rest of you out there that call in periodically, I'm talking to you too. You know, the opportunity is here for you, whether you make use of it every week or not, or if you can't get on some weeks. Don't hold that against us. The people that call and hit redial real fast make it. And we know that because some of the same ones can get on every time because they have what's called stick-to-itiveness. A little stick-to-itiveness will go a long way. So we're sticking to doing this show. We're sticking to these pledge drives because it's the only way we stay on the air. And Mysterious Mike wants you to know you can get KPFT cups and mugs and keychains and T-shirts and everything. David's got some prison show T-shirts you can get, plus a few of the books, with regard to this. Victoria's book, Dave's book. We need you to make the call. 713-526-5738. Trust me, folks, we take no pleasure in this. If we could support the whole thing ourselves, we would, so we wouldn't have to do this. But we have to. So 713-526-5738. Make a pledge in any amount. If you can make a pledge every month, just a few bucks a month makes a big difference. And if you can make, maybe you're an attorney out there or something, maybe you can make a couple of $100 a month pledge because you have clients that have been affected by TDCJ and the justice system. And maybe there was a case you didn't do quite so well on for some reason, and you feel like you need to be supportive of this sort of thing. This is the place to do it. We're the only game in town as far as prison shows go, as far as this information coming on to you every week. This is it. And if you wanted to stay on there, 713-526-5738. Make a pledge in any amount. Be sure and designate the prison show. You can also go to kpft.org, and there's a red donate button, safe, secure, just like always. Now, we have Ms. All right, so we were going to have Daniel Mancini, and Daniel, for whatever reason, shame on you, boy, unless it's something serious, and if it is, we pray for you. Amen. Ms. Lovinah, on the other hand, is here, and she wants to talk about the rally. If she can unmute. There you go.
Yes, I got it. Hello, everybody. Thank y'all for letting me share. So this past Saturday, we had a rally in Austin to highlight the need for people to get involved in this upcoming legislative session, specifically to focus on the need for prison reform and parole reform. There's some specific things that we're demanding. We're demanding not because we've asked so nicely for so many years. So some of them really is just humane treatment for our loved ones, men and women that are incarcerated, but some of them, like the quality of food to improve, the temperatures, the AC, that's a big issue. So many people in prison die every year because of the lack of heat. On the unit that I was on, hobby unit, because summer 2011, 7 people died that summer though. 7 people in one summer and this is one unit because of heat exhaustion. That's not okay. That's not okay. So we just feel like everybody should be outraged. We want people to get involved, play groups, join different groups and different organizations that are doing things to make change. But that's what this rally was about. We had city council member Greg Cesar. He spoke at the rally this weekend, and it was good, but it doesn't stop. That's one event. That's a one-day event. True change is going to be changing some of these policies and laws, and that means getting involved. January starts this legislative session. Get involved. They have groups like Latino Justice, Statewide Leadership Council. They will train you and teach you how to create policy and, how to do that, how to present that to legislators during this upcoming session. So get involved. My favorite saying when I think about this is that everybody can't do everything, but everybody can do something. Everybody can do something beyond voicing your complaint on social media. We gotta do more than that. So don't be afraid of retaliation and things like that. Nothing worth having will come without a sacrifice. And that's real, and sometimes it's part of it. We gotta not let that fear hold us back though. So it was a great rally. We had a decent turnout. It should have been much more people, especially when some of these groups have, even our own group. I'm an admin for Rally for TDCJ Conditions. 1,800 people in this one group, so in our group. So there should be so many more people because I see so many complaints on social media. So I really want to encourage everybody to get involved in one way or another. Do something, and donate to the prison show. This is a great organization. My loved one listens to it and enjoys the information, finds it very informative, feels like it's knowledge that he can rely on, yeah, donate. This is a good organization to donate to, that you can be able to see where your money's going. Like, you wonder, some of them, like, man, are they really doing anything for? No, they're getting information to our loved ones, and that's a big thing, because when you're in prison, I can tell you firsthand, you're like kind of lost. It's like a world away from the world. Prison is like a world of its own. So you want whatever information you can get about what's going on, or is anybody doing anything for us. So that's just very important to try to get involved, stay involved, and everybody can do something. Okay, so thank y'all for letting me share. That's about it. Make your voice heard. We had a candlelight vigil while we were out there for the inmates and officers that have died from COVID-19. We said all of their names one by one, and that was really, really special that we honored them and paid, respect to them. And everyone got to light their candles, but it was really windy, but and that was very sad too.
I understand you had some knuckleheads try and mess with the rally too.
Yeah, we did. We had some it was one small group, you see, of MAGA supporters that came with their bullhorns, and they wanted to intimidate us and to start ranting and raving and being loud, and but that's not the focus, and
Right.
that's what we were there for. And we do peaceful things like that. We're not about the violence and all of that. That's not going to get us anywhere, and that's not what we're there for. So when we say a rally or a protest, and if it's anything with any of these groups I just mentioned, Latino if they're taking part, the rally for TDCJ conditions is going to be peace as best as we can control it. So that's what we're about, and you can make change and stir up by stirring up some stuff, but without the violence. So we can do it peacefully. So,
well,
yeah,
thank you for getting out and doing
it. Thanks for all that you do.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it. Being an ex-offender, I mean, it means a lot to me. Man, if I'd had you guys out there whenever I was doing time, I'd had all the hope in the world that things were going to change. So it really means a lot.
For people on the inside, it encourages them that somebody cares, because a lot of times you feel like, man, don't nobody care. So many people, they just find out, start talking to your loved one, ask them what their conditions are. Some people don't even know what their loved one's prison job is. Like, how many years have they been locked up? Why do you not know what their job is? Get involved in their life. Find out what their,
They need to be held accountable. We need oversight desperately. And 1,800 people on your page, if 1,800 people wrote a state senator, believe me, he'd get up and do something. And that's
right.
how change is made.
That's right. That's right. If y'all remember years ago, the Million Man March, so I don't know if they still do it or not, but how big that was, that's how big it should be, because of what's going on behind TDC. It should have been several thousand people out there in Austin. Outrage. When you think about the injustices and stuff, Black Lives Matter, inmate lives matter too. It should be just as much outrage about what's going on in there. And I really, really appreciate you, Mr. Atwood, for what you're doing. The death penalty needs to be abolished. It needs to be done away with. It's just, oh my gosh.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Ms. Lovinah, Ms. Lovinah, they can find you on Facebook.
Yes, TDCJ, Rally for TDCJ Conditions is the name of the Facebook group, Rally for TDCJ Conditions. Yes, join, get connected.
All right. And get involved. Just like we're trying to ask you to get involved here at the prison show tonight, 713-526-5738. You wouldn't even be here.
Oh, look who shows up.
Yeah, I saw him pull in there a couple of minutes ago.
Paul Morgan, if you look over to my left over there, Miss Victoria Rusk, she
Y'all
wrote a
need to
book
hook
about
up.
mitigation.
Oh, Victoria's on here?
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
right over there. She's got her book right there.
Hey,
You guys
hey
need to-
Victoria, how you doing?
If you can look down in the chat window, you'll see her information. Maybe you guys can get together there.
Me and Victoria ran into each other a couple of years ago. I'm very familiar with Miss Rusk.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we figured you guys could make a good team. So
Yeah.
I was bragging about you riding this weekend. We had a good time.
Oh yeah. Hey, that was super fun.
Yeah.
The police barricade was, or excuse me, the escort was some. I'm sorry, I can't stop looking at Mike's thing. I'm trying to figure out if spy versus spy or whatever he is.
Yeah, Mad Magazine.
But yeah,
Yeah,
no, David, that was
down there
super
can't
fun,
see
man.
it. Mike Lewis has a leather mask on. He's got a spy versus spy leather mask on. So the guys down there, they can't see it. They don't know what we're talking about. But
Yeah.
you know, Hank, we got like 1 minute left to pitch.
Well, we need.
Paul, he gave a little bit last time he was on the show, and we really appreciate that. We really appreciate everybody who's given. We could go down the list and name everybody, but the problem is we can also go down the list and name everybody that hasn't given. And right now we need you to give. And like I said earlier, it doesn't matter if it's $1 a week. That's still $52. And if you can afford to do more than that, like Dee Dee and I, and like Hank and Rev, be a sustainer. I mean, $10 a month is not the end of the world. And I know that Bobby went out and fixed the transmitter, so I know that there's a lot more inmates that are listening tonight too. And we want to thank John. And there's another. I got another check the other day from a trust fund account, and I'll pull it out here, guys. We really appreciate it whenever you guys do that. It means the world to us, because if you guys can do it on the inside, we know that there's no excuse for us on the outside, because you got to plan it in order to get it down to that trust fund account and get that check sent out to us. And Hank
Let me.
I keep talking.
That's all right. Let me thank the folks that have given. Janice, Michael, Judith, Rodolfo, Rudy from inside sent us a check. Eugene, Texas Law, Love at Work. Elizabeth, me, Tanika Solomon, again, Amanda, and Charlie. You know, all friends of the show, all people that give just, you know, pretty much every drive, you know, and we thank Rudy for making that extra effort and getting that to us during the drive and everything.
Donald, I got a check from Donald in, he's out of Navasota, out the PAC unit.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Donald. I know we're gonna have to go on over to the callers, but I don't know what else to say. Please give.